Hello and welcome everybody to Paradise Theater, the lands of Lazrikaan. Are we? Are we actually on? Or did
Yeah.
Okay, because it didn't refresh to us being on for whatever reason.
Yeah, I have it on it. We're live.
Yeah, we should
Okay,
be.
alrighty. My own confusion there, I guess. So we last left off. Everybody was kind of on lockdown, and we had a lot going on. You're waiting to see Duke Osprey O'Canther, um, ostensibly, and it kind of keeps getting pushed back at this point. Uh, Saren. Actually, I want to start off here real quick with. I want to start with Callahan Cromwell, honestly.
Ooh.
So Callahan, maybe you receive where you guys are at the house at some point, whether you're like back there for lunch or just stopping off to grab something or drop something off or whatever it is. Um, a messenger arrives in the form of uh, a messenger arrives outside, and Captain Woda, that you met last time when you got here, knocks on the door. Um, it's like message for Callahan Cromwell, for Lieutenant Cromwell.
I'll take it.
So like he hands you a scroll, and he is at that scroll tube, and he says, Duke O'Canther wants to speak to you personally.
Ew, I hate that. I say in my head. Uh, I nod in understanding. Is he wanting me to go right now, or does he like walk away and let me read the letter first?
Well, he's like, hey, I think he kind of like gives you the indication that, you may have a few minutes, but you probably shouldn't keep him waiting, um, kind of situation. It's like, actually, you probably wouldn't have it for like right now. It'd probably be like in a couple of bells, maybe. Like you have a couple of bells to get there. Um, and it's got, it's detailed that they will send an escort to escort you to your meeting. But
Okay.
you're the only one invited this time. Like last time, Saren was summoned. Now you are being sort of summoned.
Swear everyone, I'm not a traitor.
Don't worry, I'm not the same as Saren. Uh, so I um you're kind of you have a couple hours effectively. And by the way, so you guys are aware, like you are in late summer at this point, and the house is built to be able to take advantage of some cool breezes and stay cool, but it's pretty hot outside. It's blazing hot. It would be what we'd call the dog days of summer, during the last month and a half thereof. So, maybe outside, and maybe as you kinds of those of you who went out to the marketplace, like when you got the feeling that when you've kind of picked up on the fact that people in Ocanter, and specifically in Nur, don't seem to be afraid of violent crime. Like people are a lot take seem to take a lot fewer precautions against muggings and robbing than you've seen elsewhere. They're very they're very tight-lipped when it comes to talking, especially around people, the guards, or Saren, or anybody who represents like the sort of like law enforcement, or the sort of military in any way, shape, or form. Um, but otherwise, they do not seem to be worried about violent crime. Uh, Saren, for your part. you're aware that there is a criminal underbelly. It's mostly smuggling, drug trade, and the worst of it is sedition. And treason. Like those are the big concern. Those are the things um, that are not like under direct control, and they ferret out sedition with like super efficiency. Like it's not unheard of for some smuggling and some drug trade to be able to go through. There is a bit of a black market, but you know you're of the understanding that Ocanther allows just enough of this uh, to keep things from blowing the lid off. But you know, whenever we'll have a targeted raid or something, but they're more concerned about people speaking out against the Duchy of Ocanther or like the military or espionage sort of intelligence divisions. Um, any sympathy for Stoneborn Dwarves or Stubble or Gister, is looked upon fairly suspiciously. Um, for the rest of you, you may not know the underbelly thing. You kind of have gotten a sense that violent crime isn't a huge problem here, at least not within city limits. Um, but yeah, um, what is what is Avaria? What are Avaria and Raziel doing right now? Raziel, you've noticed that they've taken like the guards around here have taken some interest in you, um, more than the rest, and you get an uncomfortable feeling that it doesn't have near as much to do with your size as you might be comfortable with.
Yeah, what kind of looks am I getting?
Well,
Like, is it just like some side eye, or are dudes
Horny.
actually like pressuring me?
you maybe like somewhere deep in your subconscious, like you have registered that there's been a detect psionics used at you in your presence around you, and sort of like targeted you. Like you can feel you at so when you landed and they were ordering, maybe this is what distracted you, is that there was a couple of things that happened. In fact, let's do a little bit of a flashback here. Like maybe we go back a day or two, and when you guys landed, and while everybody else is talking to the guards, and Saren is being recognized, and everybody's being ordered to surrender their weapons and whatnot, you feel somebody detecting psionics, like on in your general area, like, and you know that your psionic potential would show up, like you've probably run across, like, your tribe probably has at least one or two people that are like psychic warriors, or you know uh, uh, maybe a kineticist or something. um, a few different,
Yeah,
maybe.
absolutely have a psychic warrior or two.
So you probably have like this sense that you have been detected as psionic, um, and from a completely different source, um, than what's detecting your psionics. You hear a voice in your head, somebody using some sort of telepathy, tell you, saying, and they're unfamiliar, saying, "It will be okay. Cause no trouble. You will come to no harm. Still your
That
emotions. Still your emotions and your mind. You will need your focus later."
and the voice is unrecognizable to me.
Yeah, like maybe you see somebody in the crowd that you think it might be coming from, somebody that doesn't quite fit. They look almost like they do, but like they're looking at you a little harder than than anybody outside of the guards are. So, I mean, but there's only a moment, and then they just kind of disappear into the crowd. So there is someone here that may have some other agenda.
Understood. So I guess what Raziel would be doing right now is acting uncharacteristically cordial. Like
Yeah.
he's not really. Usually he flounces or like scoffs at like polite candor. And right now he's being hyper vigilant, quiet, observant, and he doesn't even seem overly concerned about Ivaria, which he usually is.
Hmm.
He's more generally concerned for everyone he's traveling with right now. What's the we're in a you said we're in like essentially like a guest home.
Yeah, yeah. And if, to your to the point that like everybody else got to get the description of this, but the architecture here is not just not just form, elegant form, but it's also very functional. Like maybe you even saw like maybe you even noticed Basvier like taking note of it at some point. It was enough to raise Basbier's eyebrow a little bit. Um, dwarves and from what you know of the dwarves know how to build shit better than anybody. So if a dwarf is looking at it and going, you know, it says something about the craftsmanship. Uh, but yeah, you're kind of like watching the guards outside, and there is an element of like maybe you I don't know how much you have managed to get out coming back to present time. I don't know how much you've managed to get out of the house to check things out. um, in any case, you probably aren't allowed to roam far without Saren in tow, since he actually knows the laws here. And they pretty much Captain Woda was like, "Yeah, you know the laws here. You're responsible for them."
I will say, I think it's important to note that there has been a strong insinuation from like most of the party that this house is not a safe place to have open discussion.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
that's something that I feel is important to know.
Saren even referenced it himself at one point. So, um, so what is Raziel occupying himself with? Is he kind of just is he kind of like talking to anybody? Is he eating? Is he being especially vigilant? Um, what's going on with Raziel?
Yeah, he's absolutely being hyper vigilant. We're not allowed off the ground, so like he wouldn't. He'd be enticed to wander around, and
Hmm.
since he'd be confronted, he probably is making small talk with any like close by guards, trying to
Yeah,
fish out questions. He's not. Raziel's not the brightest dude, so he's not exactly like a fucking interrogator or anything. But like, he definitely knows that they have taken interest in his, like his vitae. He doesn't really use the term psionics. It's not really called psionics where he's from.
yeah.
But that has sparked his curiosity, so he's like chatting up the guards.
Yeah. You want to make a gather information check to see what you dig up in your small talk?
Absolutely. Let's see. Skills. Oops. Alrighty.
Yeah, you don't really get much except for like the thing that you do get is like these people are just really like they're believers. Like they're total believers in House O'Canter and Good that O'Canter. The like you hear the phrase more than once. Anytime that they talk about Northerners, you hear the phrase "land can be bought, but nobility that can't be bought with gold." And
Um, I'm a silly goose and accidentally because I'm autistic and can't see, I roll the handle animal, which is right below gather information.
Oh, okay.
No.
Go ahead and
May I
well, go ahead and
try?
roll your yes. Go ahead.
Okay, my sincerest apologies.
Sorry, I didn't realize that's what the. I just assumed it was
It's
the
so small.
actual.
Right.
Well, I'm about half
Well,
blind
that's
anyway.
even worse. So huzzah!
Well, yeah. Really, all you gather is that these people are very big believers in Duchy of Ocanther and the superiority of their lands, and no, you hear the phrase, lands can be bought, nobility can't. Maybe somebody, maybe when you're talking to the rest of the party, they have to give you the context that this is probably in relative to the fact that Baron Mulcaine and Baroness Deltrick bought their lands and titles, um, a few, 20, 30, about 20 years ago, maybe 10, or I think it was like 10, 15 years ago. I have to look at it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Raziel will be smart and bite his tongue because, frankly, that saying makes his fucking skin crawl. What a
oh
gross
yeah.
thing to say.
Oh yeah. Yeah. These people really are like, and maybe you kind of get the feeling that, uh, not really much else you get from it, from all of that. But
Look, Raziel's no fucking scholar or scion, but he knows when people are up their own ass.
yes, yes, you does. Yes, he does. In this case, it's quite obvious. What is Avaria doing while Raziel is trying to chat up the guards on the grounds?
Where's Basbeer at in the house?
It's a good question.
Oops, sorry, I was muted. Basbeer is in the closest thing to a common room, and he is superficially doing the same thing he always is doing, which is like writing in the book, but probably Avaria, you probably noticed that he's just doing sketches right now, like of like the area around him.
Ah, I
Yeah,
see.
Avaria joins Basbeer, and I think she just kind of sits there and just she doesn't try to like strike up conversation. I think she just wants to kind of be near Basbeer after that big thing that happened a few weeks back, and just kind
Mm,
of wants to feel like his approval is on
yeah.
her.
And Basbeer, for his part, he seems not distant, but maybe like guarded in this place. But when Ivaria comes and like sits near him, he shoots her kind of like a soft look, like a quiet hello,
A
as he goes
knowing
back to his
smile.
book. Yeah, a knowing smile. Yeah. But yeah, he gives like a soft, almost familial sort of like nod.
Yeah, that's good enough for Avaria to just ask him like what he's doing and like kind of check in with him. Um, she knows the rules about this house. She's not gonna uh start a conversation that goes too deep. Um, but she will like just start talking to Bass Beer about just stuff like
Yeah.
oh like just keeping it light and breezy.
Oh yeah, and Basbeer is a good listener. He doesn't like interject all that often unless like asked, you know, about something. He's usually just a very like attentive kind of like open ear sort of vibe.
Yeah, and that's all Avaria's doing right now.
Mm.
Uh, Siren, you are you hear a knock at the window of your room.
Make sure the door's shut and then open the window and be like, oh,
You look outside, and there is a scroll tube that has been set gently, like right at right on the sill of your window.
yeah, I probably, this has been done before. So he kind of grabs it,
Yeah,
knows what it is, goes sit down, reads it real quick, and then be like, oh, okay, so that's what we're doing.
yeah. So there is you are there is a dual thing that like the message has two parts to it. The first part is that is that the Duke O'Canter it wants to see you personally again. Um, and that the second part of it is talking about like um, putting some things on putting some things on the record as far as your status goes and whatnot. So basically, what it reads like is that O'Canter is, calling you in, and he's got some plan directly for you. It reads like he's going to actually like officially name you to some agency or another. Um, because there is reference to to a potential assignment, but it doesn't say what it is.
Okay. So he looks at it and realizes what it is, and he's like, okay.
Okay.
So he takes the scroll, puts it, does like the normal signing thing on it, and puts the scroll back outside the window for acknowledgments for when they come and pick it up.
Okay.
Saren then walks downstairs to where everybody else is and is like, well, we're all behaving now. I have to go do something. Nice drawing. I have somewhere to go real quick. We should be good for a while. I don't know what's the plan for today. If you guys need something, I have to go do something real quick. All right, bye. And I turn and try to leave.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
Basbier just stares kind of
Yeah.
suspiciously and then like does a
Same.
double take with like Evaria, like looks at Evaria to gauge her response.
And she's like, Aaron is so weird, right? Like,
Basbier
That wasn't normal, was it? No.
Yeah, Basbier kind of runs his fingers through his beard briefly and says, yes, that is a bit peculiar. But he seems to be kind of off in the distance now.
Yeah. It's like,
I like to think I'm entering the building as Saren is leaving.
Yeah.
yeah. He's like Saren walks by you.
Hi.
Like, oh, oh, you're off to leave because you can.
He's recognized as a citizen here, so
Yeah. I mean, I can't. You guys are good.
Yeah,
You guys can
we're
come
good.
too if you want, but I got things I gotta take care of. Maybe. I'm good. Bye.
I walk in and I do a squat, like a pop a squat near Ivaria and Basmir.
Nice. Yeah, Basbier looks over and he kind of shakes his head and shakes away the sort of off in the distance and nods at you.
Varia, of course, checks in on Raziel, like, how you doing, buddy?
I hate it here.
Oh,
You and me both. You and me both.
I get stared at like cattle, and without gold feather, I am an eagle without a wing.
Hey, they didn't even let me keep my shield with my holy symbol. Place
Oh
really
shit!
has
I'm
some
sorry that I
backwards
missed this.
morals.
Oh fuck! I'm sorry that I missed last week, but I'm gonna just roleplay that I know it. Raziel puts his hand on Basbir's shoulder and he's like, "I'm sorry that the secrets in your tome were stolen from you."
Oh, nobody knows that.
Nobody
Nobody
Oh,
knows
knows.
nobody
that.
knows that. Shit,
Yeah,
that's
nobody
Nobody
fine.
knows
knows
that
that.
yet.
Joe, you
Yeah.
should have
No,
mentioned that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
Joe.
didn't. You just remember.
Wow, Joe.
Damn it, Joe.
He said we don't know.
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. No, yeah,
Never mind then.
His shield was taken, but
Yeah.
like, yeah,
because like,
nobody.
and Basbier is like kind of flummoxed by the fact that his shield was taken. He's like, this is purely a symbol of like It's like it is not a weapon except for against the undead, but sacrifices must be made, I suppose.
You wouldn't take an old man's walking stick, would you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm sure that there was a Gandalf
They
moment.
are
We just didn't have it.
no, they were they weren't the soldiers, the Rohirrim soldiers. They understood that there was some risk. They were like, no, we see through
Yeah.
this. We know
Yeah.
you could use this in some way, you know.
Yeah. No,
Uh,
I will say, so we're allowed to go to the marketplace.
yeah,
I would probably check in with the people who have gone to the marketplace, so like Evaria, on like prices, because I kind of want to buy 10 pounds of powdered silver.
Jesus.
I would 100% go to the market with you.
Yeah, because
Uh,
I need to. I'm starting to look at my spells and go, oh well, I actually have to have this to make holy water. So
Raziel
yeah,
tags along due to lack of purpose.
like Avaria just says, I would rather go to the market than to sit around this house.
I've done enough sitting in this place.
Do we have to
Callahan,
ask? Do we have
will you
to
be our?
ask permission before we leave? Do we need a babysitter?
Oh, Bazbeer is not asking permission. Bazbeer is like, I have to go get this stuff, so I'm gonna go get it. And he'll go, Callahan, will you be all right if we leave?
Yes, I'll be quite fine. I'm supposed to apparently meet with the Duke later.
Bazbeer probably goes, of course. You're meeting with the Duke.
No idea.
This place vexes and perplexes me. And yeah, Bazbeer will grab his rucksack and start walking out at that.
Yo, Bazbeard not asking is all the permission structure Raziel needs to also not ask.
Yeah, yeah.
there,
Bazbeer, you've probably noticed that people don't look at Bazbeer very kindly, so he's
Oh,
kind
no,
of
yeah.
taking an indifferent view towards the population. He's like, all right, if you
Hell
guys are
yeah.
gonna say fuck you.
And Bazbeer is one of the few people who's like legit earned Raziel's respect, so he sees that and he gets annoyed. Especially because in Raziel's backstory, he spent quite a bit of time with the Stoneboard dwarves.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, and
And
you
of course,
don't.
Avaria treats a Basber as like her dad. So what he says,
Yeah, Uncle Bazbeer said we could.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Even without Saren, like a contingent of guards follows you as an escort.
Yeah.
Like there's still plenty that stay around the estate for anybody who stays behind. But like there is a certain amount of like I don't know, Basmir, maybe this is I don't know how comforting this is, but you have the idea that that some of them are looking a little more outwardly than they might have otherwise because they realize that your presence is likely to be very disruptive.
Yeah.
Because this is a very ethnocentric state.
Oh yeah. Oh
So,
yeah.
you know, they
No.
don't like
Bazbeer,
dwarves at all
Yeah.
specifically.
Bazbeer picked up on
So,
that pretty early.
yeah. So,
He's
I
already
am an
used to
ethno-state.
being looked at kind of funny.
yeah.
But this place, he understands the difference between oh that's weird and oh we hate that. You know.
Yeah, yeah, like, yeah, because like Pothil and and Malkane, those two baronies, people just kind of looked at you as an oddity, like we've never seen a dwarf like you before, and some of them like we've never seen a dwarf before. But here it's like uh, active. We hate dwarves.
Yeah.
Like it's very, very palpable.
I think
Like,
Bazbeer is going to look at Avaria and say, if I may have a favor, Miss Kraz.
of course.
And he pulls out a pouch and hands you it, and it's full of coins. And he says, I don't believe that I will be getting any fair commerce in this place. Would you be a dear and purchase 10 pounds of powdered silver for me?
Yeah. Of course. I don't see that being a problem for me. And she just like looks at you and just like hates that you have to like feel that way. I'm like, I hate it here.
Tact is the better part of discretion. And he'll kind of say, there are certain places where people will be viewed as lesser. This is a fact as old as time memoriam. It is the grace of which we bear it that marks our character.
Well, if I have to be with anybody, I'm glad it's 3 rejects.
Yeah, Caspian
Any
grins at that.
any place that determines better or worse without a test, a contest, or some sort of presentation is no place I want to be in. Nobody knows if you're dangerous or not, Bazbear. Maybe you're not. Maybe you shouldn't be respected, but they don't get to decide that until it's been shown.
Asbir says, just remember, we're here to help one of our own comrades. We're here to help someone, well, Raziel, you haven't met him, but Mr. Falaf, he's a staunch friend and a good ally. If he is in danger, whatever injustices we must bear them.
What did he fell off from?
Ha.
I couldn't resist.
Yeah, like the guards pretty much look a little that overhear your conversation look a little disgusted. Like this is something that like the idea the ideas you're talking about are like completely against what they were raised with.
Oh yeah.
So they're just like, ugh, equality, yuck. Okay, humans from the Duchy of Ocantha are superior to everybody. Yeah, so that's the kind of like what they have been raised in.
Yeah.
But they're yeah, and you're kind of walking through like the marketplace. I will say this much: whatever the 10 pounds of silver will cost what it costs in the book.
Okay.
If you were a citizen, it would probably cost less because they are rich in minerals in the Duchy of Ocanther, with the Abersh mountain range residing much of the way on Ocanther side of the border.
Yeah. So that's 50 gold.
Okay. So no diplomacy chance.
Hey, Babs.
No, they know you're outsiders. Like
Ah,
you landed in a big flying ship that they knew comes only from Gister. So yeah, you already have a certain level of celebrity just by the way you arrived. Like they're like outsider, and the Duke has not told us to. There have been no orders from the House O'Cantor to extend you like any kind of like citizenship price.
Mm,
oh
Um,
wow.
yeah. So
Yeah,
like
I
it's
hate this
fine.
place. I hate this place even more.
I,
yeah.
I think it's fine. I was expecting to pay a higher MSRP for that stuff than than what it was worth. So I'm cool with getting away with at price.
Well,
Yeah.
you would have paid even more, but
Oh, I know that. Yeah.
yeah, Avaria being a human, but being from another part of the world, not from O'Cantor, she doesn't get a citizen price, but she gets a
Hey,
standard.
are Ocanthites also weird about necromancy?
Yes,
Very.
yes, and they are O'Cantor, like from what you're picking up from just your fellows who have been out and what you've been told so far. It they put when they mete out punishment, they are very strict. Like they don't fuck around.
Yeah,
Like
I wouldn't be surprised if we're saddled with a death penalty for associating with Avaria.
yeah, there's a very very large like Ocanther. Like in Ocanther, like when you break the law in Ocanther, if they deem it any kind of threat to their rule, you are executed. You're a violent criminal, treason, sedition, sympathizing with enemies of the state. If you're doing anything that they consider to be a direct threat, and necromancy is illegal in all of the is most illegal and or restricted highly in every one of these nation states and all the villages and civilized ports around here, but O'Cantor meets out some of the most severe punishments. Because this land has a history of being in the shadow of an entirely undead nation that used to own them. And their memories of that are a lot closer to the skin than anywhere by the Nasarad Desert or Azra Jungle, because it took them longer to earn their freedom.
Hmm.
So,
One thing that you would hope they would take into consideration when the War Council comes to be, but probably will not, because Duke Osprey O'Cantor is a power-hungry monster.
uh, he is a power hungry monster. This is true. everything you've heard about him, he's pretty much just trying to like do everything he can to get himself declared king.
Well, look at his citizens. They're scared of secret police reading their literal thoughts and executing them for sedition. There
Yep.
is no good ruler who leads that. Like, you
Oh
know.
yeah. He's
I don't know.
Stop
I
talking
think
about
he's
Palantir in the Trump
great.
administration and move on to the fantasy game.
Yeah, yeah.
no. I was
You said
actually
it.
taking a model more from Doctor Doom in Marvel Comics. Although there is,
Latveria.
yeah, because his Doom citizens love him, but he is an authoritarian autocrat.
Yeah, yeah,
He is a villain. His
yeah.
people love him genuinely, but they know what he is.
I don't know. I think he's great. The O'Cantor dude is awesome. He has
Doesn't
no
it,
no problems.
is anyone here? Is anyone here a fan of the Venture Brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite moments of the Venture Brothers is when Dr. Girlfriend is talking to Baron Underbite, who really feels like a Duke O'Canther type.
Yeah.
And he's like, there are no prisons in Underland. And they're like, oh, how progressive. And he's like, yes, the death penalty has been instilled for all crimes.
um,
But
but
yeah.
yeah, alright. Yeah. So you
Jinx.
guys are out. You guys are out shopping. Let's jot over to Saren very quickly. So Saren, you arrive back at sort of like the intelligence headquarters. Um, and there is a you are, of course, you go through all the checkpoints and all of the, scans and whatnot, like the what have you, the mind scans and stuff. And you manage to get back to the meeting room. Duke O'Cantor is there with a Major Galmus, or rather Director Galmus. I mean, he's sort of like the director of the intelligence division, at least one of them anyway. Um, and he's like, I think he's in charge of like external intelligence, and he's like, and there's also his counterpart, director Dresk, who is the head of the internal intelligence affairs, and O'Cantor is there as well. So like these are like three of the higher ranking people you could be called in to talk
Yeah.
to.
First thing
Like,
I do is when I enter is I bow to all of them, knowing
yeah,
their rank.
yeah, and he's I think Duke O'Cantor like formally introduces you, like you maybe know them from like your studies and being informed, like because everybody has to know. It's like, this is Director Gomez, head of external security. Director Dresk, head of internal security, intelligence. He goes, and he says, Saren, he goes, your information has proven to be quite enlightening. He says, he says, from this day forward, you are officially a member of the intelligence service. You will receive assignments and orders from both Director Gulmus and Director Dresk, but you may consider yourself my personal agent. Either
Thank
you'll
you, sir.
he says you will just receive, he says, he nods and he says, You'll receive orders that are from both divisions, depending on where you may be, on assignments that you may have that we need carried out in areas of operation you're at. Additionally, I will have personal assignments for you. It says, you understand your mission as regards the Tannish girl. He goes, you're also to keep an eye on this half-giant companion of yours. Our readers have detected he has psionic potential, but not formal training. If you can sway him in any way, then sway him. We could use the extra force of arms in the field if needed. Your first assignment will be coming from a director of internal security. From this day forward, you are the first member of a specialized unit. You are the Order of the Fixed Tongue. It says, there will be more agents like you. You'll be isolated from each other as only coming across one another on need-to-know basis. Your father is the official first member of the Order of the Fixed Tongue. You are the second. Well, he says, for my part, I understand that your group may be heading to the Earldom of Gister. Your father is in Lawnweef. He's investigating a possible security threat. There is word that one of our spies may have become a double agent. Your father is investigating. When you travel through Gister, stop in Lawnweef and see what aid you may offer your father in turning up the spy. A rogue agent must be dealt with as a top priority. This is, as a member of the Order of the Fixed Tongue, your specialty will be dealing with rogue agents. They are to be silenced in whatever manner necessary. It says, and there's like an emphasis on any means necessary. You understand the subtext to be silence them permanently. And it's like, it says, you will continue to travel with Malkane's people. Report back their progress. It says, and there is one additional assignment that Director Galmus has, or that Director Dresk has for you. I'll leave the details for him. And before you leave, he says, and before you leave Nur, he says, you'll get official instruction. I will give you the details on where you might find your father, the details on the mission with your father. See that he does not fail. Unless, of course, you no longer value him. He goes,
I have what I'll do is I will make sure he succeeds, and where he fails, I will pick up the reins.
he goes, if he fails one more mission, I'm afraid even my particular regard for him won't be enough to justify keeping him around. He does have a number of enemies in the intelligence world, internally and externally, who would like to see him eliminated. And he says, I would make sure that you impress upon him the absolute importance of no more mistakes. He goes, I believe it'll mean something coming from you. And
Yes.
and I
I
think he kind of,
understand.
yeah, he says, I will leave Director Dresk to give you the details on your assignment while you are here within the borders of Ocanter. He goes, I have other pressing matters to attend to. And he kind of narrows his eyes. He's like, see that you do not fail me.
No, sir. I will not.
You should
And
totally fail him.
yeah, you get the, like, he's somewhat, like, you get the impression you're reading off of him what he wants you to read off of him, like, just as a matter of sense motive and anything else, because he just is able to project what he needs to project in these situations. Like, he's just sort of a master of it. Um but yeah, and I think after he leaves, the director Dresk is like, and he takes Director Galmus with him. And Director Dresk looks at it, sits down, or he hands you actually a file, like a stack of papers and parchments and stuff. He says, "This is all of the information we have on your assignment." He goes, "Agent, you will be in charge of arresting someone. There is corruption in one of the villages outside of Nur. We believe one Constable Thorid Loff." And like, he points out, like, there's a sketch of him, of Thorid Loff, and he's like, "We believe he is aiding an underground movement of smugglers. We believe he's been taking a percentage of their profit in order to turn a blind eye. The smugglers involved are pretty small time, but the concern is they seem to have a connection with the Wooden Foot. And as virulent as the Wooden Foot seem to be in the north, Ocanter will brook no interpretation or no invasion of their goods and influence within our borders. You're to arrest Thordloff, gather any evidence that you may find in his quarters. This needs to happen quietly and privately. No public spectacles. It says we will take care of the paperwork and the official announcements regarding his replacement. You are simply to bring him into custody along with any evidence you may be able to find in his residence or his place of work or anywhere else you can get him. And if you can get us a name of his contact in this Wooden Foot, that would be so much the better. But if not, I'm certain our interrogators will be more than capable of prying a name out of him." He goes,
Okay. Did I miss what town this dude was in?
uh, see, what is the name of the village here? Let's give the village the name. The village of Talpic. It's like a day's ride.
Okay. So, I'm. How many pages is this report?
It's a number of It's like it's probably a dozen pages of suspicious activity. It's all what would be considered circumstantial evidence anywhere else. Not enough to, like, actually arrest anybody on, but that's not how shit works here. And you know that. Like, if you're suspected, they arrest you first and then gather the evidence. Uh,
I
See,
was
this is
just
why we
trying.
arrested him.
I was trying to do like the auto hypnosis to the report so that I don't
Yeah,
have to carry that around with me, type
well,
thing.
that's why they taught you auto hypnosis, because you're not allowed to carry any of these materials with you. Like, you've been trained specifically for this kind of work, and now you realize why you were trained in auto hypnosis. You're like, oh, wait, I was already using this stuff the way they really wanted me to use it. So, like, okay, well, I guess that's how it is. Um, Yeah, so like he of course gives you the instructions like memorize everything that you have, memorize all of the information you will need here. You will not be allowed to take these materials out of headquarters.
Yeah, so that's gonna take if it's like like about a dozen. That's gonna take 4 or 5 hours to memorize it. If I remember,
Yeah.
if I read it right.
uh,
Get to reading, son.
yeah. He got a lot of. Oh, I don't know why I'm doing all that. I can go. I'll put it on the map later. But the village of is like, yeah, he's like, you may use whatever resources you have available to you. He goes, within reason. He says, and he's like,
So I have a question. You want to do this? Can I employ my friends to help me? Cause that might be kind of fun.
he says, they, if you do, they are on a need to know
Oh,
basis.
obviously, yeah,
You do
definitely.
not know mission details outside of the objective.
Yeah, this dude.
They don't, they don't need to know why this man is being arrested, and they don't need to know what crimes he's committed. All you are allowed to inform them of is the objective.
Yeah, I
If
I
you're
have a
searching.
little plan brewing up in my brain that they might follow. They might be
And
all right with that. I got you. I,
and
I
I
understand how it works, and I know what needs to be done. But I don't want to go against Ocanther at all whatsoever. If he's okay with me using this group to better the country, then I'm all cool with that.
remember, no public spectacle. This must happen quietly.
No Russian.
It's like, it,
Very good. I
yeah,
caught that.
yeah. He's a. I think like he leaves you to memorize the details, which include like where the guy's house is in the village, and how long he's been the constable there, and about what time they suspect that he may have started working with local smugglers. About they have like a timeline established of when they believe that the local smugglers may have made contact with the agent of the Wooden Foot. And like they've got like general details of like what their timeline is as to what they've been able to observe and what they've been able to deal with so far. Like, and you get the sense that this is a test, that this mission is a test. Like you can figure that out pretty easily. That like this is, and you understand that a lot of missions are a test. you know, but this one in particular is like, okay, can you do the job we're asking within the confines of the way we tell you to do it? Um,
Yeah, Saren memorizes all of it, and then when he's got it done, he's like, all right, goes back to the house and sees where everybody is.
all right. Yeah. So while you are still like memorizing text, because it take you 4 or 5 hours, Callahan, your meeting with Ocanther arrives, and like the escort comes to pick you up and take you to Castle Ocanther, um, which is architecturally placed and city designed to be in the most prominent location it could be in, and like the most forbidding and like the most elegantly forbidding. Um, like sort of like not in the way of like the dark, craggly castle that you just don't, but more in the way of this guy's got enough money that whatever defenses he's got in place are probably harder core than most people are even going to imagine, kind of way. Um, it's all built to be very impressive. Um, and like you are brought, like they bring you to a study where when you walk in, um, the man you find there has his back to you. He's looking out a window, his arms behind, his hands crossed behind his back. And when he turns and you see him, he is a middle-aged man, with, sort of young middle-aged man. He's got just the slightest hints of gray here and there. Um, but they're but he turns around. There's still something very vibrant, and he gives off a very disarming vibe. Like you can sense the presence that this is somebody who's got a bullshit meter that just does not stop. But he turns around and he has a very affable smile on his face. Um, and he says, he goes, Lieutenant Callahan Cromwell. He goes, I'm very pleased to meet you. He says, as he turns around, he says, and he kind of goes to take a seat, and he says, recently graduated from the Officers College in Pothil, Cromwell family. Your family are into the. Your family is into spice trade, are they not?
Well, you'll have to tell me out of character.
Oh, I mean, uh,
Yes.
he's like, he
No, I
goes,
mean like out of character. I don't know. Like
yeah.
oh,
I'm just
okay
making
then.
a guess. I'm just making a guess here. So, he would probably know. So, or at least have some information. So,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. That's fine. He'll go with that. That's
yeah.
spice
So
trade is fine. Yeah. So
he's like- he goes, he's like a very well respected family. I did a little bit of digging. Your family has old roots in the lands, don't they? Fine long tradition. It's okay. I'm not. He says you may.
sorry. Then my quietness is me trying to remember what we talked about my character's family in general. I can't remember this stuff. I'm assuming though what he's going saying is correct. So every time it's correct, I'm just gonna I'll say yes, sir,
If
very
it's
formally and respectfully.
Yeah, if it's not correct, then it is clearly a little bit buttery, maybe a little buttery. Like
Yeah.
you determine how long your family, like how old your family is, but it's at least old enough that from a certain perspective, he could potentially be like, oh yeah, and it's not that far of a stretch to say that. It maybe
Yeah.
not quite as there may be some embellishment that he adds to it, but it's that, you're like it's hard to tell if he's doing this because he's trying to be nice or if he's trying to get something. He's just kind of unreadable in that way. He's like I've heard of the Cromwells, and he goes to take a seat, and uh, he point he like there's maybe like he kind of like rings a bell, and a servant comes in. He's like, "Can I offer you some refreshments? Perhaps some fire wine brandy?" He goes, he goes, "From my personal stock. I assure you, it's a good year." Yeah.
Callahan will. Oh, he'll. How do I be diplomatic? He'll be like, "Thank you, I appreciate the offer, but unfortunately, I do not partake in alcoholic beverages. I will
Uh,
take water."
he goes, He goes, very fine then. He goes, very good then. He says, he says, too small, and points to his servant who runs off to, get to go get that prepared. He says, have a seat. Make yourself comfortable. He goes, he says, your brother, I believe, has a few years ahead of you. There's talk that he may, there's talk of him being made a warden, perhaps? He goes, or at least that seems to be what my people say your family is angling for. And you are the younger son. What if I could make you a better offer than your family currently has in terms of your marital arrangements? A stronger alliance, if you will.
Oh God, not another one. Yeah. he'll he'll nod back. I greatly appreciate that offer, and I would gladly take it to my mother to discuss, as she is the one organizing.
I have some plans to take a bit of land to our east. And I had thoughts of a family that I might name as the warden of our newer lands. And nothing too ambitious. Uh, Maybe there may be a few dwarves to consider, but we're a little what I'm thinking maybe a little south of their normal territory. Says the house Ostwain has served me well, and they just so happen to have a daughter of marrying age, Gemma Ostwain. You could marry into a wardenship for your family before your older brother is able to claim one from the Baroness. And he says, I understand Cordelia Beckcross and Willence Ranswell are also fine offerings, but as noble as Lord Larigan's bloodline and those that follow him are, he's a bit more of a minor territory, comparatively speaking. A shame that his forebears lost so much territory. They once held at least as much land as those by the Baron Malkane and Baroness Deltrick. He says, though not quite as the House Gister. He goes, he says the Ostwains have been after me for some, have been asking for some added responsibility to the nation, and I have deemed fit to put them in charge of this project. You don't have to make a decision now, but I would ask you to consider that there is a much stronger political alliance to be had with House O'Cantor than any of the other potentials that there may be out there. I could arrange a meeting with Dema if you would like to meet the young woman.
Yeah, I hate this. Caroline will nod and be like, of course, I'd be most pleased to meet her, and I will write to my mother at once to let her know of your most generous offer. I'm sure she will be ecstatic.
Says he nods. He nods and he's like he says, and you do look to be. He says, and you graduated from officers rank college with the rank of lieutenant. Very impressive. And your first assignment out as a special envoy with Baron Malkane's envoys. You don't happen to know. He says, you don't happen to know what Says, what exactly are they even doing? I've been given the story that they're in my lands to help one of their agents that is actually known to me. He says, the question I have, however, is that can't be the only reason that they are out. They have the sword of Tin for the Revenger, as well as other secrets. He goes,
Oh man. Ooh, I hate him.
he's like, he says, what do you make of them? I
Wait, does he
understand that.
know? Does he know if Arya's a? Is that what that was inferring?
Yes, he does.
Probably.
Well,
Oh, he does.
Yeah,
yeah.
What a pervert!
he didn't say outright that he knows anything. He's just like
Yeah.
Yeah, he's too.
specifically. He's being
Um,
cagey. He's like they have secrets. He goes, I know they
Yeah,
do.
that's why I call him a pervert.
He's
He's like, you
yeah.
have.
playing with his food.
He says, I know you represent the barony of Deltric. He says, what do you think the Baroness's take on these envoys are?
So
What does the
I'm gonna say
Baroness
it
make of them?
simply, out of character. I'm gonna say it simply, but it's gonna be a lot more detailed. But the breakdown of it is, uh, the Baroness seems to trust this group a great deal, and since I have been given orders to assist them, that is what I am doing. Unfortunately, from what I know about them, I really only know that they are a strange and motley crew. Ha! Uh, but they are tight knit and very dependable and trusting of each other.
And
He
he says,
genuinely doesn't know that Avaria is necromancer, by the way, so there's no bluff there.
he's like, uh, he's well. I mean, you did witness some of the shit go down at the Tomb of Tin for the Revenger to some
Mm,
extent.
He was on the
No,
other
you
side
were.
of the
Oh,
tomb.
yeah,
that's
Yeah.
true.
He's
still
been
That's true.
completely
That's true.
oblivious.
You did. Yeah, you.
conspicuously absent every
Yeah.
time Ivaria's done necromancer shit.
There you go. There you go. He
I
said,
fucking love that for him.
yeah, he kind of. He. I think he. Yeah, I think he would look. I think he would say. I think he would probably be. He'd be like. This is. What do you think about? Do you think they are keeping secrets from the Baroness?
Well, if they are, those secrets have not been held long because I report directly to the Baroness weekly. And so anything
Uh,
that I know, the Baroness knows.
Interesting. He says, and these cults. He goes. He says, I was to understand that there was some activity with cults in the barony of Deltric. He says, my sources indicate that there was some sort of turf warfare up there between rival cults, right underneath the Baroness's nose, in fact. This is uh, is the Baroness's intelligence agency was the Baroness's intelligence agency simply overlooking key details, do you think? Or perhaps there was something more going on?
It is not my words are hard. Uh, not my purview to assume anything that the Baroness is doing, and I just follow orders. With her intelligence agency, I know nothing. Unfortunately, as a new graduate, I've just been given my first assignment, and I left almost immediately. So unfortunately, I've not been able to keep up with much of that.
Well, the servant kind of comes back with the glasses and sets them in front of each of you, and and he says, he's like, you're he kind of like you get the feeling vague feeling you're being assessed, but it doesn't really show specifically. It's just like that. Ooh, I got a weird feeling, but he doesn't like show outwardly that he is actually assessing. And he's just like says he goes, very interesting. He says, well, I hope that you will. He says, please enjoy the hospitality while you are here. He says, I hope you will express my I was trying to think what he would say. I hope you will express my thoughts are with the Baroness. Her problem with these cults. He says, um, it is certainly he says, it is certainly takes a great deal of oversight to keep such things under control. Here's, if she requires any assistance from my intelligence division, I hope you will let me. I hope she will let me know. I would be more than happy to lend an agent or two to the effort to root out some of these disruptions.
Even Callahan knows that. It's
Yeah.
not a good thing.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm
You
sure
get-
the offer would be most appreciated. Look, Callahan has a diplomacy of 14. I have a diplomacy of negative 14. It is not a good mix.
right? It's like,
You balance each other out. Go for it.
Yeah.
what is Callahan's sense motive?
Since
That's
motive
the real question here. I mean, it's probably
is
not high
is
enough,
just a
but
+2.
+2, yeah. There's there is just no way to tell how much in good faith this could be. Like, given his reputation, it makes sense that this is kind of offered in bad faith, but it's also unlikely that he doesn't know his reputation. So he's probably aware that you and the Baroness will think that this is an offer in bad faith, which makes it confusing as to why he would make the offer other than out of diplomatic courtesy, which it's a big shrug as to whether or not that would meet with his goals. you know, um,
Yeah.
I want to say shout out Jesta for making a 3-5 campaign where if someone was actually fucking insane enough to take knowledge, nobility, royalty, it would help.
Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, I've been taking knowledge nobility.
Never taken that skill in the 20 plus years I've been playing this game. I don't give
oh
a fuck
yeah.
about no rich people.
But they give a fuck about you, and that's the scary part.
Right? They're so interested in like what I buy and where my genitals go. It's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
telling me.
Yeah.
uh, yeah. He's I think like he offers like a lot of very courteous and polite and even friendly small talk. Like you can feel that like he's got a definitive presence. Like you've been in it's a very different feel than like around the Baroness. Like the Baroness, there's like a crackling of magical energy that even those without magic can kind of feel in her presence. With him, there is this feeling and sense that he always knows more than what he's telling you. Like, and that he can see more than what you are seeing, like, even in the most indirect and minor of thoughts and questions and and answers and explanations. Um, like you get the impression that he's gonna get more out of this conversation than you are by far.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, like, but he doesn't seem on the surface to have any ill intent. It just doesn't seem like that. Like his reputation and his personal presence just have this weird dissonance that makes it really difficult to to put a finger on him. And he's
It's
just like,
giving Cecil from Invincible.
you know, so he's just like, so yeah, he's but he offers a lot of pleasantries and treats you better than you expected to be treated for an outsider, especially given his reputation and
Yeah.
whatnot. Like by far better than you expected. But whenever you're because there comes a point in the conversation, unless you have specific things you want to bring up to him, um, there comes a point in the conversation where he kind of like a servant comes in and says, it's like, uh, and it's like, Duke, and bows his head, and he's like, so I have other matters I must to attend to. Says I, he said, and he gets up and he actually offers his hand for a handshake.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah. He shakes your hand. He says, it has been a true, genuine pleasure to meet you. He goes, and he says, our conversation has been very enlightening. Um, make a will save.
I'm on skills. Need to find the stat.
Yeah, it'll be under stats.
Okay. Yeah. You like the handshake. Shakes your hand, and she gives you an amicable farewell and goes off to his business, leaving your escort to give you a minute or two and knock on the door. And if you are ready to return, Lieutenant Callahan.
Yes, thank you. I shall be on my way.
Yeah.
No
They
idea.
give you, yeah. And they give you, and now I want to shift back to the rest of you. Um, there is a point where you guys, like, um, during the afternoon, where a runner comes up and you stop by your sort of escort with a message, and they look at the message. There's a bit of a scowl, but they let the messenger through. And messenger is like, Mr. Basbir, foreteller, Miss Avaria Kraz, and and he looks way up at you, Raziel. Raziel, you have been invited to the castle. He goes, and he hands you he holds out like a scroll tube with the invitation on it, presumably in it. Who grabs it?
Probably Bazbeer, I'd
Yeah,
say.
Basbeer. Like Avaria is not even.
Yeah, maybe
Like,
he.
in fact, I step back because
Yeah,
I want Basbeer to grab it. I
Yeah,
want Basbeer to be the person to take it. I want them
yeah,
to look in his eyes and look at him as an authority figure.
yeah. And
they.
Bazbeer,
100%.
He
Yeah, dude. Oh, that's such a good idea.
he and what he actually does is, like, when you grab the scroll, he removes his hand very quickly, very careful, not to very circumspect about not touching you physically. And there's just kind of a look that he's having not a great time disguising the look of disgust on his face.
Bazbeer reaches
Are
into
you
his
serious?
pouch. Bazbeer reaches into his pouch very
Yeah.
deliberately and pulls out a gold coin and says, "Don't worry. The only reason I'm blind is because of cataracts," he says as he reaches the gold coin out to the messenger.
The gold he simply gives you a nod, and he says, that will be unnecessary, sir, and hurries off.
Yeah, Bazbeer will put the gold back in his pouch and casually unfurl the scroll and read it.
So you were invited, like, it's an official invitation, but the name at the bottom is not Duke Osprey Cantor. It's Master Avri Ocanter, AVRI, and not instead of OSPRI.
May I make a knowledge nobility if I know who this guy is?
Yeah, yeah, you absolutely can. It's pretty low
Uh,
DC even.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I got a 7.
Avrio, it's like the DC is like a 5.
Okay, cool,
Like
cool.
Avrio Cantor is known to be. You've probably heard his name come up a few times, once or twice. He's the younger brother of Osprey Cantor,
hmm
and you really don't know much more about him than that. He's the younger brother of Osprey Cantor.
Okay.
Like
Bas-
you're aware that Osprey has a sister as well, but this is obviously not her. This is the younger brother.
okay. Yeah.
So
Basbeer says, well, appears that we should put on our fancy clothes then.
do you tell anybody else who specifically this is from?
Yeah, sure. I think Basbeer will say, the Duke's brother, Ofri O'Canther. I've heard the name. I know not much else about him. He apparently will be our host for tonight.
Yeah.
Why not the primary Ocanther? Does it say?
Nope. It doesn't say anything about the Osprey at all in there. Simply, Avrio Cantor apparently wants to meet you.
Greetings, such dignity.
Raziel leans down. Raziel leans down to Basbear, and he says, 5 silver coins that this brother has some alternate offer or some other task.
Hey, if I were to gamble, I would put money on your bet as well.
Mhm.
That's I'm not making that bet because it is very true.
Yeah, anybody else with knowledge, nobility, or royalty in this, like knowledge, nobility, or regional that is with you can make a check as well. See if you know any more. I don't know if Avaria took any ranks in it or not.
I don't think that I do, but I'm just gonna double check.
All right.
Only knowledge I have is nature, which is why did I do that?
Yeah. So yeah, Well, it
I
makes
have
sense. You're
Yeah,
you're a
bit of a
barbarian.
nomad. Yeah.
I have knowledge history if that would apply, but other than that, no.
Knowledge history. Nah, I don't think that would
Yeah,
be particularly
nah,
applicable here. So
yeah, so I'm good. No, I don't have anything.
Would one would 1 point make a difference? Because I can't switch my knowledges to wisdom for my stone cunning, or not stone cunning, my ancestral knowledge. So it would technically be an 8.
no, it's not enough to make a bigger
Yeah, I
difference.
figured
So,
as much. I was just being a stinker.
yeah, it's like yeah, you you managed to make your way like I don't whatever you guys have left to do. Like there's you got a couple of bells before you got to be there,
I
but
think
you're
Basbeer
Ooh,
will.
does that mean I can go too?
yeah potentially yeah.
Yeah, I think Basbeer will probably lead the group back to the house because he wants to get freshened up. Even if he's seen as detestable, he wants to be the most clean representative of detestable there is.
But yeah. Oh yeah, Varia is also gonna get dialed up. She wants to look. She wants to look very spiffy just in case anything goes off, and they're like, "See, look how presentable I am as I summon undead."
No summoning
Uh,
undead. Rowan's not here to tell you no, so I have to take that role.
Oh, forgive me for not noticing till now, but where's Archer?
Archer has been like Archer got like a summer cold. Like he's been cooped up in his room. Like
he's got players not here disease.
he caught
You know
a
what? I it's going around.
It's going, yeah.
he's got he caught himself a summer cold. Uh, Either that or he drank too much and he's just super hungover.
I think
Like,
it's that he drank too much and is super hungover, and he's saying that he caught a summer cold.
that might be it
Yes.
too.
That
Makes
is the
sense.
most Archer thing I've ever heard.
That
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense. It makes sense. Yeah. I think time-wise, Saren could possibly even make it back in time to go meet with Avrio Cantor as well. But that's really only if you think that Saren would
Saren would
make it back in
return.
time.
Saren would return and be like, "Hey, can we have a group meeting real fast?"
No, traitor.
You know,
um,
You're right.
Bazbeer,
Oh, you're back.
Bazbeer
We don't
check your
know.
suit out. We gotta get ready. We gotta go meet somebody. Like as Avaria like starts to get dressed.
Oh, y'all know about? Wait, I'm confused. So, I have an option that we could do. About a day's travel, but it'd be fun. Plus, he could give us favors in the eyes of Ocantor. We help him.
Avaria is not listening. She's already in her room, like
Yeah,
separate. Getting
Bazbeer is attentively listening, and he
Hey,
says,
Saren. Oh, I'm sorry. Go Bazir first, and then me.
yeah, I think Bazbeer will say, well, I shudder to wonder what helping the gentleman would be looking like, but if it were to earn us more political cachet, it might be worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. See, yeah. I mean, being on his good side is great. Worked for me. Anyways, so we need to
What?
go find this one dude. And
Hey, Saren.
what? Yeah.
So
Sorry.
out of character. This is Angel speaking to out of character. Since I wouldn't have this knowledge, you just have it. You have it. The dude you're working for, your charge, wanted you to try to curry favor with Raziel. And the one thing you've known about Raziel since I wasn't here last time, but the one thing that would have been salient is that taking his sword made him immediately not want to help anyone here besides the group.
Okay. So
So if you were to
Saren
try to
would
curry favor,
make a point that if we, and knowing that and trying to get your favor, Saren would bring up the point that, hey, if we help the Ocantor, you could have your sword back. And technically, it's a day's travel away anyway, so you have to have your weapon back to travel. So you get to be reunited with that again.
so Raziel looks up because he wasn't paying attention to you at first, and he says, "And they won't take it when I return."
I can make a vote that it may not be if we succeed at escorting and finding information about this person.
How did you come about this task, Saren?
Um well, there's people I know here. I have
No
to
shit.
check in and they're like, "Hey, we need this. If you want, you can go take care of this and you can take your friends with you and they'll grant favors to Canther Nation type thing if they help." Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Bazbeer is giving you just this look that's like, he's not gonna outright say anything, but he very much is like kind of suspicious of what's going on, because like stuff like this doesn't just like fall into people's laps, and you're being very, very vague about it.
Oh yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Bazbeer probably says, well, perhaps when Arthur is feeling better, we might be able to bring it to a quorum of sorts.
Bluff
If
of
this
sticks.
job were meat, not even vultures would pick at it. Saren, what's going on?
Damn.
You guys can make some sense motives here too.
Yeah, I'd
You
like
don't
to
I
have a
make
hard.
absolutely
You don't have
will.
a hard. You don't have a hard DC to beat here. Saren's not very guileful in this moment.
Sense mode is one of the few skills that I have.
Yeah, you're all aware that he's dissembling, but you're probably also aware that he's likely not going to give you too much beyond what's going on here, unless the player decides otherwise.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. No, Bazbeer is going to say he's going to switch, from being like overtly suspicious to kind of making a little harumph and going, well, perhaps if it gets us favor, then that might be good to discuss after our meeting tonight. We're meeting with the Duke's brother, Ovry.
Saren, would you like to make a knowledge local check to see how much you know about Avri? And Callahan, being that you're there now, you can make a knowledge royalty nobility to see if you know much too.
Cute. Let's see, nobility. I don't really have anything for it. Oh, but I nat 20.
Damn! Holy
Nice.
shit! So, Saren, you're aware that like Avri is Osprey's younger brother, and the two have a certain amount of tension. They have different ideologies about things, and for one thing, for a lot of reasons. Uh, Callahan, you know that it is widely it is reputed within noble circles that Avri is actually very religious, which is unusual for the Duchy of Ocanter. He worships Urzwan the Mystic Defender. In fact, he is he's not truly a cleric, but he has some divine abilities and whatnot, akin to other folk that you may have met that have divine abilities that are fervent worshippers, but not officially part of the clergy, for other gods and goddesses. They're rare people. They're called favored souls. Where a god, they're like, well, you worship me, and maybe you're not a part of the organized church, but I like you. Here's a few spells. You know,
You're
here's
not
some
that
divine
bad.
power. Here's some divine power. Uh, yeah. And he is known like Osprey O'Canter. From your understanding, Osprey O'Canter, if he'd have been anybody but a member of House O'Canter, Osprey would have had him eliminated a long time ago. Um, but the two's tense relationship is somewhat mitigated by the fact that Aubrey is his brother and therefore of noble bloodline. And so he tends to give Aubrey a bone every now and again when it comes to like his outreach programs. Aubrey O'Canter is much more about like um, helping the poor and things like that. And he's also far, far less, nationalistic and ethnocentric than his brother is. Like, he's the good kid, effectively, in a family of bad kids. Well, in a family that rewards bad kids. Uh, so, you know, of the two, like, he doesn't hold a lot of political power because he's, like you, he's not the heir, he's the
Yeah.
spare. But because his family is of noble bloodline, that gives him a little bit more. He actually does what Ambrel Hyren was, you know, surface level doing in Pothil.
And we saw how
Like,
that turned out.
except for the
Mhm.
fact that he's not attached to the church. Like, it's all like his own, like, sort of outreach, people that work for him, and his sort of has his own like help the poor organization that O'Canter, the Duke, does not care for, but allows because it keeps Aubrey happy for the most part. Um, like of the O'Canters, those in the know are like the Duchy of Ocanther is powerful because Osprey is in charge, but they'd probably be less effective and powerful, but a whole lot nicer if Aubrey was in charge. Like they wouldn't have nearly the power that Duke has, that Osprey does, because Osprey's just meticulous about things. But they'd be a lot nicer to everybody else, at least, outwardly, so diplomatically speaking. Maybe not culturally, at least not for a few generations of that kind of influence. And who knows if that could happen. But this is what you know, and Saren, you know that he's the younger brother of Osprey, and that Osprey doesn't, and Aubrey don't always get along well.
Like, say Saren would speak when you say you're going to meet him. He'd be like, he kind of has that slight disgust look on his face. Was like, oh, we're gonna go meet him. Okay, sounds fun.
Yeah, and Callahan will be like, actually, I think most of you will like him. He's, from what I understand, he's a pretty nice guy.
Yeah.
Actually, he looks to Basbeer and goes, actually, is of his own faith, different from yours, but
it is more.
And then Avaria comes out of her room and like, hey, what are we talking about?
Oh, nothing. Actually,
Next
Avaria, I
move.
was wondering, could you help me take this other bag of silver and help me get it amongst my things?
Yeah. And like she comes out of her room and she is like has like a really beautiful dress on and her hair is all done up. And she's like, why are you guys just still standing around? You have to get
Yeah.
ready to go.
Yeah, Basbeer
She
kind of.
finished over.
Yeah, he pulls her aside as they go to Basbeer's room, and he says, just very quietly, "I'll only say this once. I shan't repeat it. Say nothing to Saren." And then just like puts his stuff in there and says, "Well, Avaria, I must get dressed. If you'll give me a moment."
Yeah.
And then like Avaria just like watches you as you go, thinking about what you just said. And then like she looks at Saren and is like, he probably like sees her and like does a goofy wave or something.
Saren waves back at you like, hi.
Yeah.
Nice
Man,
dress.
just to show the power. Just to show the power of Duke Osprey Ocanther, he is already driving a wedge between our party.
I have never hated our NPC more than I hate this dude.
A PC? Oh, an NPC.
Oh.
Yeah, like Duke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
What a
wait,
guy.
you'll hate Rassen more later. Don't worry, all of my villains are very hateable.
Joe,
I like
Joe,
the hateable
for
villain.
what it's worth, you have my most hated NPC, so that's always good.
Me?
Yeah, I fucking despise Catabang.
Oh yeah, no, that was
The worst. The worst. Just a fucking right wing grifter in a fucking stuffed into a cat folk body.
Oh my god, that was fun.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you guys get around to go see, like, who doesn't, like, I imagine that Raziel
Right-wing
probably
catboy.
doesn't dress up, right? Would I
Raziel
be
doesn't
assuming
dress
that?
up. Raziel doesn't dress up, but I've always imagined him in like the kind of garb that most people would find exotic to begin with. He wears a lot of like deep cerulean silk,
Okay.
and like he has a chain shirt under it, but like most of his stuff is like a fine blue silk with like gold trim. He's got like one ornate sleeve, and then the other is exposed, so like you could you see his fucking muscular biceps and shit. He just has
Nice.
like an exotic look to him.
Cool. Yeah. I
I mean,
think
Saren's got his normal clothes, but they're at least ironed for being back in
Rad.
town.
Yeah.
It's just his normal
Sure.
outfit and a bow tie.
Yep.
Yeah, you. So you all make whatever preparations that you have to make, and you manage to like. There is an escort that shows up to see you off to like the castle.
And they ain't
Um,
never seen a dwarf dressed so fine.
no, they have not. Um, they haven't seen a dwarf dressed even what they would consider reasonably normal. So yeah, so maybe like the escort gets you there to the castle, and they like escort you to what you assume is a meeting, like one of the meeting halls, probably a smaller meeting hall and whatnot. And there's already like food set out when you get there. Like there's like a spread, and it's nice too. Like it's um in fact, I think Avaria and I think Avaria, you actually see that there is some very specifically northern dishes, like that you wouldn't expect to see this far south and haven't so far, like that have been prepared. Um, you, Raziel, are amazed to find traditional fare from the Southlands. Like you,
Whoa.
they, he had to have had some of this stuff imported at some point because he has like salted meat from game that you would have hunted in your tribe lands. Um, and he also has some mead that is some of the better quality trade mead that you might have traded with other like tribes in your native homeland, like some maybe he's got some spiced wine and things like that. And of course he's got your a lot of traditional like Ocanther, like Duchy of Ocanther sort of like cuisine there. Um as along with more standard fare. Like he made it a point to have dishes that those of you who come from other lands that he might know. Like he doesn't have anything traditional for Thurin dwarves, but maybe he has some food out that would have been traditional for the Stonebore clans.
Mm.
Um, but I don't know that you'd necessarily know that. It's
Yeah,
his way
no.
of trying to approximate because he doesn't know anything about it. They're in dwarves.
Basbier's
Um,
happy if there's veggies and bread. Like, that's
yeah,
pretty much all
yeah,
he's gonna eat,
yeah.
because he's, a temperate.
As as you there are a handful of servants in there, and Avrio Cantor himself is there, and he's dressed in what you might consider modest for nobility. Callahan, it's certainly nowhere near as fancy, or it's a step down from what Osprey wore. Like Osprey was wearing stuff that was made to make himself both seem grander and also more affable. Like his clothes were very well tailored and very well cut. Like nobility anywhere would have been like, oh wow, this guy is the height of fashion. Osprey, well, generally fashionable. You can tell he's not spending the most he possibly could on his outfit. You know, you'd get the impression, you would probably guess that he probably has a retainer that makes him dress at least this well. Um, he seems comfortable enough in them. Avri himself, where it is, Avri himself has like sort of maybe shoulder length hair, curly. There, the family resemblance is clear, but the demeanor is vastly different. Like where Osprey O'Cantor seemed very affable but unreadable, he seems very open and affable. And he's clearly in his, sort of early to mid 20s. And he wears his symbol of Urzwan very openly. And when you guys come in, he actually stands up and walks across the room to greet you. And he's like, "Oh, come in, come in." He goes, uh, he uh, he goes, "I've heard a little bit about each of you. Probably." He says, "Don't worry, I'm not tapping into Ocanther, into my brother's intelligence files. I'm not. I'm not a stalker, if you will." He says, but I do know a little bit from some of the stories I've heard from North. There are a few rumors do make their way down. He goes, and he looks at you. He's like, he looks at you, Callahan. He's Master Cromwell, and he looks at you, Basbury, and he's like, he goes, I have never met a dwarf of your kind before. He goes,
Asbeer reaches out his hand for a handshake and says,
But of course, it's a
he
pleasure.
actually, he actually reaches his hand out and shakes your hand. He goes, uncommon that a dwarf follows this custom. As the dwarves I've met before usually spit in their hand before they offer their hand for any sort of greeting, and they go for more of a warrior's clasp than a handshake. He goes, you truly are remarkable.
I've
Because
heard that there are certain differences between my kin of the surface and my kin of where I come from.
because indeed, he goes, I would be very interested to hear of your people and share any stories that I have of them. He goes, I have met the Stonebore clans. I've actually met with them and joined one of their feasts before. I've met their current high chief, a very interesting woman. If you'll indulge me the opportunity to regale you with tales as the evening progresses, if you are curious about your kin. But that'll have to wait a little bit. He he looks at you. He comes to you, Avari. He goes, charmed, I'm sure. You are something of a mystery. There are those who are unwilling to speak much of you, but you travel in esteemed company and you cut a very graceful figure. He,
Whoa, now that's my lady. No, just kidding.
yeah, yeah, he's like, I commend you
I
on
know
your
that's canon.
style.
That's canon.
Uh,
I commend
No,
you upon your sense of style.
Varia curtsies and nods, and it is a pleasure to meet you. And she sticks out her hand, very ladylike.
Yeah, he
Uh,
takes your hand and kisses it and in respect.
but she does look at Callahan. She does look at Callahan and like, you know, with a this could be you, look.
If you like
He-
it, then you could have put a +1 ring of protection on it.
good, good.
he and I think he comes over and he's to you, when he comes to you, Raziel, he looks up at you and he goes, "It has been a very long time since we've seen one of your kind around here. My brother entertained uh, a group of envoys from the Nasarad Desert. King Zumal sent envoys, and one of his guards was one of your kind." He goes, very impressive. I understand your people have latent psychic abilities.
Of my people do draw from the essence of our bodies and souls, if that's what you're saying. And I am shocked. I do not see such understanding of my people outside of the deserts. I
Oh,
thank you.
I try to be as well educated as I can be. He goes, a little one sometimes has to turn to forms of educating oneself when we're off on diplomatic missions. The textbooks here rather tend to be rather one-sided. He and I think when he comes to you, Sarah, and he looks at you and he's maybe not. There's maybe like I don't know. Uh, there's an era of caution when it comes to you. Like your dad's,
I wonder why.
yeah, like the rest of you don't know this, but your dad is known to the O'Canther family. So even though he doesn't get very involved with the espionage operation side of things, he's probably seen your dad and understands like the position and rank that he has held at times and whatnot. So he's a little like maybe there's an air of caution, but he's still very friendly, and he offers his hand to you. He goes, "Saren Mirator Jr. I've had occasion to meet your father on a number of occasions. A very tidy and efficient man. He seems to enjoy he says he does enjoy the perks of his position a little bit more, it would appear." He goes, "It's nice to see that you dress a little more down to earth than he does." And he,
I'm gonna like think about shaking his hand, and I'm like, wait, I need to do this, and then I go and shake his hand normally, and then change. Hi, how you doing? So,
yeah,
food? Food sounds fun.
absolutely, absolutely. He says, "If you are hungry, go ahead, avail yourselves of whatever you see. I did my best to procure dishes that would be appeal to you from your regional homelands. Those of you that I knew. I apologize, Mr. Foreteller. Is it?
I
Is He says, I don't know much of your specific people. I hope things that are appropriate to your surface world cousins is appropriate. If not, there's plenty of other fare to choose from." This
oh, worry
is
not. I'm easy.
He says as he sits down and just grabs the nearest like piece of bread or something and starts munching.
Raziel excitedly rushes up to Basbear and says, "They have spiced dune hen."
yeah.
Yeah, Bazbeer just looks and goes,
I'll have to ask you in more detail what a dune hin is after this meal.
And I believe I cannot believe that they have fried Mount Camel. I don't have to
Hmm.
believe.
yeah.
It is so rare to have down here. The meat is so succulent.
He says, I think he says, "Please enjoy the food and the refreshments. If there is anything you find missing from your repast, uh, please let the servants know, and we'll do our endeavor to do our best to accommodate whatever your needs may be for refreshment." This is,
Pardon my potential impropriety, my lord, but it seems that this is a warmer welcome than we were expecting here. What
he
is the
says,
nature of this meeting?
he says, "First of all, you can dispense with the formalities. We've shaken hands at this point. You may call me Avri." He goes, "I so rare anyone around here will address me by my name." He goes, I feel like you may, being outsiders, may be more comfortable with this than the people of our own lands are." This is, honestly, I understand that, my understanding is that you've done some good works up north, helped evacuate an entire village all the way to the west that was under threat of undead, aided in the defense of yet another village. And then there are various rumors about your exploits in Pothil that have made their way this far south. The bards sing of your exploits in what was it, in Klebrick, and of more than a few folk tales from out of Green Creek. But Pothil, there doesn't seem to be a definitive agreement on what exactly happened. Some details missing. I'm certain that he says, "I understand that you probably have things you'd rather not discuss, so I won't press any further. But I had hoped that given that you're outsiders, and given that I understand at least one of you carries some spiritual powers," and he looks at you, Basbury, he says that Perhaps you may be of some aid with a problem that my brother is turning a complete blind eye to. Don't get me wrong, I understand he has important business that he is keeping his mind upon. The trade trade negotiations, political rumblings here and there, and security issues, things I try to stay as far from as possible. Says, however, we have a dearth of men of spiritual powers in this land. Their churches are taxed, those that do exist, and they're subject to a great deal of regulation. I believe that utilizing my own authority, I can give you a little bit of leeway to operate in my name as a member of the clergy. He says, we're having a problem in the lower quarters. We're not worried about violent crime here, but disease and poverty strikes anywhere. And unfortunately, give me a second here. I need to check something. I think somebody was knocking at my door.
Hmm.
I don't know why people don't understand that there is a time you shouldn't show up.
Raziel will say in the midst of all this, probably to Basvir or Varia, whoever's near, is and he means this as a compliment, swear. Is like a lord who doesn't incessantly whiff his own farts. This is new.
Fazbear will give you a shushing motion, but will also shoot you a sly smile at the edge of it, you know.
Yeah, Varia will chuckle.
Sorry about that. He's like, I think he continues. He's like, he says, there seems to be some sort of disease in the lower wards. People are going blind. And the traditional healers we have, those with herbal knowledge, have been unable to identify what exactly is going on. Says there, and what to call it and how to deal with it. I was hoping rather that you might lend your expertise on healing and all things and whatever you may know of healing. Says I understand. He says I understand this is a little out of the purview of a oracle a priest of the oracle goddess, but if you have any spells or particular healing knowledge that may help aid you in investigation, I would be much obliged.
Out of purview? No. Those who serve the gods serve those worshippers too, even the ones that don't believe. For we are all under the purview of the gods. And he says,
Yes.
I do question though. I've heard rumor that many believe this disease has come from, well, from my cousins, so to say. Do you think that they will be amenable to me attempting to assist them?
He says, the poor have less time for prejudices when they are wailing in pain or of illness than the rest of the citizenry. And in any case, this is part of the reason I was hoping you would be a part of the solution, in order to clear or at least help clear the name of your cousins to the surface. I don't believe this comes from the dwarves of the Stoneboar tribe. For one, they're quite far north, and very rarely are they seen anywhere near this far south. Many would say that they people of Stamrag may have come in contact and brought it north, or brought it from the north to the south, but I believe this is a tenuous argument as well, and I was hoping that if your aid in dealing with your aid in dealing with the situation might help assuage suspicions of your surface-bound cousins and help improve the public image as well. Um, my goal is twofold. I may not be the politician that my brother is, but I do understand optics to some level, and I would hope that perhaps that your aid in this would be serve a dual purpose, both in curing or at least finding the source of the disease and helping to helping to assuage fears.
Your age belies your foresight, Master Ovry. He said, Your foresight, Master Ovry. This is a wise decision. I cannot officially direct this group. Our current leader is indisposed of at the moment, but I shall bring it under advisory. However, Mr. Tiller is quite the practical man. There might need to be incentive, nothing so crass as money. However, I will say that upon entering the city, we were disarmed. This is not something that we wish to bring danger to the city, but you must understand, we do have our own safety to account for. We were forewarned that there was danger here, and our mission is one to intercept one of the agents of Baron Mulcaine, a good friend of ours, and ensure that no harm befalls him.
Another agent of Baron Mulcane's is in danger. He goes, I wasn't aware that there were any other agents of the good Baron in these lands.
To assuage any fears, I doubt that he is here to be gathering information. We, truthfully, do not know his purpose either. But he is a man who has saved our lives on an occasion or two, and someone who we owe a great debt to. We wish to be able to protect him amply if need be.
I'll see what I can do to help you out. And for the purposes of the investigation, I'll use a little bit of my brother's own policies and strategies. Saren, I believe you can act as safe as the monitor and safeguard for an investigation. While you're involved in the investigation, you will be allowed your weapons and equipment back under my orders and Saren's oversight. He goes, and he's like, he says, I'm aware of your father's pull within the administration, within the bureaucracy. He says, this should be
Sarah's gonna
enough.
speak up and be like, "Yeah, like I said, we can get our weapons back with that. What I got to do, what we all have to do as a group. Yeah, it's possible."
Saren, Saren. We are a guest in this man's house. Allow him to speak. Please don't cut him off. Continue, sir.
He-
Wow.
He gives
I
a
think
weird face as you say that. It's like, ugh, whatever.
I think I think Aubrey smiles at you, Avari, at this, and he goes, no, no, I appreciate when people speak their minds. He goes, I would rather hear people's thoughts from their mouths than any place else. It seems less invasive. Uh, Saren, you get the inside jab here. Like you understand the inside jab. Maybe the rest of you can only guess at it. Um, like uh he says says he says I understand you have other responsibilities. He goes as well. Whenever you are ready to commence the investigation, simply send word to me or come see me, and we'll make the arrangements. Just do me a favor and understand. And he looks at, and he kind of scans the group. Please don't do anything that would cause a great disruption if you can handle it. Discretion is the order. I certainly would rather not have yet another long-winded argument with my older brother over my usage of my authority. I do believe that he was quite upset with me the last time I um, authorized an operation. He said something about it was conflicting interest with something he had going on, but I
Everything's a conflicting
honestly,
interest with older brothers.
he says, but he didn't give me any of the real details. Tends to keep a lot of things close to his chest when it comes to his operations.
Our
This,
weapons will not be. If all goes to plan and all goes well, our weapons will not be used for anything, and as a matter of fact, will only serve as a deterrent.
he
We are,
goes,
after all, seeking to cure the people, not hurt them.
he goes, he goes, I'm not entirely certain if my brother has any suspicions of the same yet, but your exploits in Deltric sort of gave me it sort of was a wake-up call that these sorts of things can happen under the noses of even the most clever and intelligent. I don't believe that there was much that Baroness Deltric could have done other than casting clairvoyant spells herself constantly to have been less undermined than it would appear.
An ill of the land is not always the fault of those who are in power.
He goes, he goes, my thoughts exactly. He's like, if there is any connection to the exploits you've had, and if I were to make some inferences, given your previous exploits, if there is any connection to the undead, well, I'd like to know it. And obviously, it would serve everyone's interest to root it out.
Yeah.
I've already just looked out. I've already just looked down at at her food.
Yeah, I think Basbier says, of course. We believe that there are many things rot spreading through the lands. Where and when it might pop up, that is indeterminate at the moment. But
And he kind of leans in almost conspiratorially and he says,
we do believe that there is higher backing to these movements than what others might suspect.
Do you have any suspicions as to who or what?
says,
What exactly do you know that is going on? I don't want to pry, and you don't necessarily have to tell me anything that you would consider a secret to your operation.
I feel that this, he probably says, I feel that this should be information that all are privy to. There is organization that is beginning to happen. Organization that is larger than just one or two cells. There seems to be communication, a network, perhaps even the backing of groups that have long since been unheard of in these lands.
Well, this is distressing news. If I may be of any assistance, please don't hesitate to let me know. But he goes, in truth, he goes, in truth, I have a certain amount of a certain amount of political power, but all of the intelligence operations and military report directly to Ocanther and his bureaucracy. I can offer special provision and whatever aid um, that my own outreach programs are able to provide. Unfortunately, not as much as I'd like, but whatever I can do,
May I offer a piece of advice? He's a duke, right?
The
Or he's
guy
like a
that you're talking to is the younger brother of the Duke.
okay, so he's just like a lord.
Yeah, he's a lord.
Yeah, so like if I may offer one piece of advice, your lordship, I know very little of these lands and of the duchies, but I do know about having brothers.
Hmm.
And I would say if your brother has interests he's unwilling to talk to you about, then it might behoove you to have interests you do not wish to talk to him about.
Yeah, Basbier kind of like sets his glass down like a little too hard after hearing that. Just like, like,
I think he chuckles at that and he goes, he says, there are very few secrets that my brother's operations are not privy to in this land, and they're constantly digging up any secrets that they don't know. He goes, there's very little I can do that will escape his notice. He goes, but he says, within the purview of that, he rarely denies me things directly, although he would, although he is not above chastising me when I have compromised some operation or some deal that he has going on. He goes, he says, you should have seen the argument we had the last time the last time that I spoke with representatives of the Baronet of Stubble. He went on for days about how much more favorable of a trade deal than I gave them that he felt they deserved. In truth, it still favors us. But there are. He kind of chuckles. He goes, but that's a story for another time. He goes, apparently, I don't have much of a head for the negotiating side of things. He goes, uh, he says, if you want the greater logistical support, will have to come from my brother. But what I can do for you in information and hospitality, I certainly will.
And your hospitality is greatly appreciated.
um, and Basbier kind of raises his glass.
Well, he raises one as well. He goes, a toast then he says, a toast then to new friends.
And to the health of your people.
As we're
Uh,
like all raising our glasses and drinking, I kind of say over the glass, she's like, I told you all you'd like him.
yeah, he's like, nice.
Well,
Yeah, I do look. I look over at Callahan, and he's like, "I do." And Raziel says he is my favorite so far.
yeah, Mira is still leery of this guy because, even if
It's a
he is the
Jesta
good
character.
son, yeah, even if he is the good son, everyone has a potential to betray us. But Basbier is at least neutral positive with this guy.
Yeah.
Shout out number 2 to Jesta to have NPCs that are complex enough that the one non-racist guy that we've met so far, it seems, we are still somehow suspicious of. So
yeah,
maybe even more so.
yeah.
But
I can
but
never
Avar-
trust Jessa again after the shadow of ever.
Yeah.
but
Yeah, the shadow of ever was a big one.
Avaria is just she is worried anyway because everybody, if she does anything, he's gonna hate her anyway. So
Mm.
Yeah. Like,
everybody's a twist villain for her.
Yeah.
yeah, well, are you sure it's not the other way around?
Hey.
Avaria
uh,
is a baby, and you leave her alone.
yeah. I think he will, he says with the more immediate business out of the way, because he goes, I think he turns like some attention to Basbier. He seems to be particularly like he has interest in all of you to some extent, but like he seems particularly in Basbier. He's like, so if you don't mind me asking, your skin is a great deal paler than those of your cousins.
Aye, this is true.
And he kind of says,
My people have lived deep, deep underground for a long time, fighting the ancient enemy, the nation of Vestia.
He goes, he goes, he goes, Vestia, if you're underground, how are you fighting Vestia underground? He goes, and
We live.
like it's clear that these people in these lands have no idea that there are enough tunnels that like the undead just never stopped attacking you guys. Like
"Oh yeah," and
they have no idea.
he probably says,
Just
Of
doesn't occur
course,
to him.
there are as many caves as there are pores on the skin in the Great Deathwall Mountains. And through these caves, through these pores, seep in many, many threats. And of course, past the Deathwall Mountains, things are much more grim than most of you from the south would understand.
he says, and he doesn't say from the south with like malice. He's just more like matter of fact, you know.
Yeah, he's like, I think he takes it that way, and he goes, so your skin color is it a affectation of being so close to the Deathwall Mountains, or being so close to Vestia, then, or is it something else?
Aye, a tragic twist of fate. The thing that we fight the most, the thing that we rebuke and revile the most, also has tainted the way that we look. Dark magic seep in. And though we have our own rituals to fight back the darkness, it has forever stained us.
By the way, it occurs to all of you, this is the first time any of you heard anyone ask Basbier this question directly, and this is the first time any of you have been any knowledge of this being why his skin is so pale.
And like why
So,
his
like,
eyes are pale, his hair, everything. Like
yeah,
he looks like
like
death warmed over. Like
all of you finally have an answer to a question none of you bothered to ask or thought to ask or were comfortable enough to ask, whatever the case
yeah.
may be. He's like, he goes, he goes, very interesting. He goes, it would appear that you also seem a bit more civilized than your cousins. Is there, you dress more tidy, present yourself quite differently. I noticed that you carried a large book. You read, which is something very few dwarves I know do.
Aye, before I took on the moniker of foreteller, I was actually Basbier. I was actually Basbier Chronicler.
He kind of says,
We have a great history, and it must be protected at all costs. The only reason I am out here today is because of visions that I have seen. My people, they lost hope. I hope to rekindle the fire within their hearts upon this journey.
He go, he goes, a very noble goal. He goes, how long have your people been cut off from the surface?
Centuries. The gates closed long ago, long before I was here. We have done our best with what we can, but through isolation, it's clear that many of my people have lost touch with the world. Being upon the surface has been most edifying.
He goes, he says, he's like, well, he says, I certainly have a great deal of sympathy for your cousins to the north. I've never met any from your people, from your civilization specifically before, but says, I fear that your cousins are a bit maligned. There's always been tension with the Duchy of Ocanther. The Stonebore, if they have any sense of their history, it's a long, long since gone. They tend to live for the moment. They live in tribal structures. But they are fantastic warriors. If a House O'Cantor didn't have the vast numbers that we do, well, they might have caused a great deal more damage in their raiding parties over the years. They razed Stamrag to the ground twice, I believe, in our history, but were eventually beaten back from forces out of Brynod or Kosgrim or even Nur. This is the this is says their current war chief, their current high chief. I've met with her once or twice. An outreach program to some of our villages close to the border. My there was a great deal of political scandal over my disappearance. There was a time where my brother thought I had been kidnapped by the dwarves, but I was simply their guest. The current war chieftain is Weragret Elrak, which you and anybody who speaks Dwarvish, which probably isn't anybody else, would translate to roughly in human translation means war daughter of foe smasher. Which is,
Ooh.
and
Let me write that down. What was
I
it
will
again?
put it. I'll
Oh,
put it in. I'll put
Oh,
it in the
yeah.
game chat.
Avaria speaks Dwarven. Avaria
oh,
speaks Dwarven.
hell yeah.
We're a grit.
She speaks Common,
Uh,
Halfling, and Dwarven.
Elrak. Like you would probably understand it a lot more clearly than Basbir in the sense that Basbir's Dwarven is like it's a difference in dialect. Like
Gotcha.
like it's the only Dwarven, like the common Dwarven on the surface is the only Dwarven you would have been able to learn. The Ethuran Dwarven is a much more ancient version, and there's a lot of different idioms, and it takes you a minute to think about it, like Basbir, to be like, "Where a Gret Elrak."
It
That
also probably great.
Avaria just says it out loud. Like what does it translate to again?
War Daughter of Foe Smasher.
So she says it out loud as she like because it sounds weird to her. She says, War Daughter of Foe Smasher.
Raziel, this would very much hit upon you. Maybe you don't understand like Dwarven, but it is a very barbarian custom for people to identify themselves as the son or daughter of a great hero or great chieftain or great medicine, man or medicine woman. Like it's a very tribal thing to be like for someone's name to give honor to like their honored forebears. Like so you recognize this as a tribal thing. Even like as soon as she says it, like the naming tradition. You don't understand the
Yeah,
name itself, like when they say it, but when she translates it out loud, you get what it's all about.
foe smasher. Interesting.
Yeah, it probably grates on Basbir's ears when he hears it at first. He kind of like, yeah, he hears the pronunciation and kind of like winces a little bit.
Yeah,
But he probably, upon hearing that, goes, she must be of a great lineage then.
What foe smasher? What was that name translated into Dwarven?
Elrak.
Elrak?
Elrax.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Weragret Elrak is her name.
So the
I'm just surprised your family cared you went missing.
so
He goes,
to call yourself a war daughter or war son, would that meant that you went into battle?
oh yeah, yeah. She would have
Cool.
had to. She would have had to. This is a name that to you speaks of somebody who not only has a famous forebear, but has also proven themselves. She would have had to have earned that. She would have had to have earned that. She likely had a different first name before she got that one. Uh, like this is the
So
way that like she probably her father was probably a really good war chief, and she has probably turned out to be the same.
awesome. Could we and this is just for me and you, Justin, could we write in actually in Raziel's backstory that his older brother was like the war son of Stonebiter, since that's his clan?
Oh yeah, that's fine. That's
Six.
fine.
No, not allowed. No brother. I'm the
I
only
just want to make
person.
sure it wasn't a specific regional thing or something, you know.
No, no, it's just something that tribal peoples. If you look at history on Earth, tribal people did that a lot, and in fact, a lot
Yeah.
of the
Son of
names we still
Aragon, son
carry,
of so and so.
like
Yeah, I mean,
Henderson would have been the son of Hinder, like kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, and like the Dutch do it, and the Icelandic do it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah. No, I get that. Yeah, I think Basbeer is probably like interested. Probably actually takes out the book and you know asks if it is not improprious for him to like write in his book and take notes.
Oh no, yeah. Aubrey would be like, oh, he totally understands. Like you take out your book, and he goes, I see you still take your job as a chronicler very seriously.
Aye, knowledge is the most important thing on this world.
He nods in agreement. Um, yeah, it's like her. I believe it was her father. I believe it may have been her grandfather. Was one of the generals who was one of the war chiefs that burned Stamrag to the ground.
Hmm.
Her father was a part of that campaign too, although he was a younger warrior at the time, if I remember my history correctly. Don't quote me on that. My master of studies always drilled me on the history and often found me wanting.
Probably goes.
Ah, and I understand the enmity. Ah, for one group to raid and raise a city, that is, well, I can understand where there would be harsh feelings. Do you know why they attacked the city at first?
Well, according to the history books of the Duchy of Ocanter, it was because they were guided by evil and vile purpose, that they were of outlander gods, and they took offense at the success and glory and wealth of Ocanther. Although speaking to the Stoneboar tribes, their telling of it is that the Duke that the Duchy House Ocanther and its representatives had taken offense to some diplomatic slight and had attacked them first. Well, they
Hmm.
don't carry any books, just an oral tradition. So their stories, word of mouth, may be a bit confused and jumbled. And given the level of one sided nature of our books, my guess would be there is some level of blame on both sides. Though it could be that one side or the other is telling the wholesale truth. I usually find that there is somewhere in the middle is where the truth lies.
Aye, rarely does the truth fall to one side or the other of the gutter, but instead to the middle of the road.
He goes. He says, in truth, he goes. Says, in truth, they do worship a god of war, but they also worship a goddess of war, but they also worship a goddess of uh, a goddess, or they worship a goddess of war, but they also worship a god of drinking as well.
Hmm.
Belrimwin, the lady of storms and war, is their goddess of war, and Moredalon, am I pronouncing that right? Moredalon is their mother of brew and drinking.
Aspear.
There,
Oh, go ahead.
They are quite a lively and hearty people. They throw a fine celebration when one shows proper respect and conducts themselves with honor.
I think Basbier kind of has almost this tinge of sadness, like a quiet contemplation as he listens. You know, um, probably says,
Fascinating. One is cut off from cultures that they once called their own. How they may meander and stray. But who am I to say that their straying was ill-found? Perhaps they are in better position than we are in Tumbledark.
He goes, they control a certain amount of land to the northeast of us. They don't ever seem to bother the barony of Deltric that much. I don't know that if that was always the case. Our histories tend to deal more with Ocanther than and its relation to the world than with the world's relation to its other parts. Here's he's like, I know my brother wishes to expand eastward. He claims the territory he's hoping to take is south of the Stone Boar lands, but I fear there may be tensions. The Stone Boars are not exactly welcoming to the Ocanther people. In truth, I found myself a rather hostile welcome at first as well, though I was able to convince them that I did not represent any invasive threat, that I was merely there to learn and understand.
If you come
Perhaps
to the stone boar dwarves earnestly, they will see you. That's how they saw me.
Yeah, your experience with the people is that if you show honor and you are truthful, that they will generally accept you. Whether they like you or not depends solely on, their personal preferences of what you've kind of done, but if you show honor, they'll at least accept you and speak with you.
What city or what town in Ocanther are we in?
You're in
no.
Nur. You're in the city of Nur. Stamrag
Okay.
is a couple of is like several days to the north. It's let me see. Oops, I got to get on the ruler again. It is 48. It's like 48 days. It's almost a month's
God
travel
damn.
between the two.
Whew.
Like there's sure to be villages between there, like there always are. Like
It's true.
And
Yeah,
we
but
do have
a
an
month.
airship.
That's a tax.
by your airship, it would be a lot less.
Would no, that formula is a Pathfinder thing. How much would it reduce travel time? I'm just curious.
By I'd say about 40%. I think I've been, depending on weather conditions, been doing anything between 60 to 40%.
Mm,
Understood.
nice.
So
Yeah. Um, yeah, but Basbier will entertain a lot of conversation about the stone boar. You know, he'll try and learn as much as he can, but he
yeah.
also recognizes he is not the only person at this dinner party. You know,
Oh yeah, yeah,
so he leaves room open for other people to converse in any way they wish.
yeah. And Aubrey will answer questions to the best of his ability and talk with anybody that wishes to talk to him. Like whether it's small talk or or politics. You get the general vibe that he may not always agree with his brother's policies, but he also, as a loyal member of the family, is not going to directly challenge any of this stuff. Like you get
He'll ask, Callahan will ask, what can you tell me about the Oswine family?
the Ostwains. Oh, well, they're a very rich family. They've managed to. They have a very strong. They have very strong trade relations with with the with families out of the barony of Larigan. They have connections with Ingister, however, those connections tend to work for the Duke, I'm sure, more than anything else. They're very well favored and well liked. They know all the right things to say at all the right times. This is they're they are outspoken at times against the Warden of Rovisk, but Rovisk is something of an anomaly. My brother tolerates them because he feels like their ability to negotiate with the barony of Stubble is just important enough not to depose Rovisk. House Rovisk generally is a bit more open-minded towards the Baronet of Stubble and some of the houses of law of Gister. This is, however, he goes, the Ostwains, they've long been decrying the Rovisk's open-mindedness, and they've also fallen in line on a number of other things. They've risen in importance as their wealth has risen and as their proximity to my brother has increased. Our sister treats them with a great deal of disdain, but then she treats most things with a great deal of disdain. She goes, me included.
Hmm.
And she goes, if you think I'm hands off about politics, which I try to be whenever I can, she's outright disdainful of it and refuses any of her familial duties, often traveling far and abroad. Because
Kind of
she's in
jealous.
she's in town now, but she's in town now, but she's well, let's just say my brother doesn't picket her as long as she doesn't picket him. I'm willing to deal with my brother on a day-to-day basis, but the two of them in the same room is often contentious on the best of times. There's the Ostwains. He goes, she hates them in particular. She calls them sycophantic puppets. And she goes, as to their individual members, she says the daughter is somewhat less so. She is very loyal to Ocanter as a national thing, but I feel like if she had exposure to the larger world and other cultures, she may be a bit more open-minded. Strikes me as having a decent heart, just taught by the wrong people, perhaps. He goes, it wouldn't surprise, he goes, it came as no surprise to me that the northern expansion would fall under the Ostwain. In truth, my brother probably, if it fails, would likely leave them on the hook to take the blame. If it succeeds, likely he'll be praised for his foresight in putting such effective members of society forth to be elevated. He never puts himself in a position where he can be definitively called the loser.
I got that from him.
Is the Ostwains are his favorite inner circle sycophants right now, but who can say? It depends on their success or failure in the North. Should they fail, likely they'll suffer all of the political fallout and, depending on how it goes, perhaps even charges of incompetence or inefficiency. Because if it succeeds, they'll be elevated beyond what they've been, beyond what their family has seen.
Yeah, probably warden status.
Mm, that is his plan, to my knowledge anyway. He does occasionally conversate with me about these things, though rarely does he listen to my counsel.
This sounds so familiar.
Uh, he kind of chuckles and he goes, he kind of looks at you, goes, brothers, am I right?
Older brothers. And yes.
He chuckles. Uh,
Actually,
uh,
Agreed.
firstborn brothers.
Yes,
he
definitely.
go, he kind of goes, firstborn? Uh, mm, our sister is technically the oldest, but she very clearly and very early made it known that she had no desire nor interest to lead either the duchy or the house.
Smart woman.
Mm, or simply disdainful of everything that speaks of responsibility.
True.
Yeah. Mm,
Smart enough to do it, then I see.
he kind of chuckles and he goes, "In truth, she may actually be smart enough to do it. Probably not as organized as O'Canther, and you'd never get her to sit down and take responsibility for anything beyond herself. And where she spins her and who she spins up next. She very much loves to get to, very much likes to get on to raise people's hackles and definitely loves to challenge the norms. Just to see people be scandalized by it.
Hmm.
Maybe this is something you've heard before, Callahan. Like maybe you weren't necessarily aware that she was the oldest sibling, but you
Yeah.
did kind of hear that she sort of does not take responsibility for Jack. like, like nobles or important families who have met her speak of a certain acerbic nature and a sarcastic tongue.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, Callahan still envies her because she's able just to shirk off her duty and not
Yeah.
deal with all the pressure. But his personality is just like, yeah, but I've gotta still
Yeah.
be me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think when there's a lull in the conversation, Bazbear will probably say,
I hate to bring business back into such a good casual encounter, but this disease that is affecting the lower quarters, what can you tell us of it?
Well, it's been going on for about a year and a half now. It's at first we didn't think a whole lot about it. It was rather small, confined to a rather small district, but it kind of grew beyond. There have been quarantines in place there for at least. Oh, I think I used my authority to put quarantines in place about 6 months ago, perhaps. My brother was mostly ignoring it. When I put the quarantine in place, he looked at me, and it was probably the only time in recent memory, that I can remember him complimenting me on my foresight. He did say something to the effect of something to the effect of You got to it before I would have, so good job.
And the
Here's a-
quarantine, has it been effective?
With some degree. It seems localized, but there is it seems localized enough, but there is just a weird pall over the area, and very few people can get in and out. There's a handful of merchants that are allowed to make deliveries uh, to inns and suppliers at the edges of the quarantine. They're very highly guarded and regulated, and I have the few clergy I can find casting detect disease on those who do meet with, those who are transferring goods. We've managed to keep it in check so far. No one understands exactly why the disease is spreading. Doesn't We can't figure out how it spreads either. Doesn't seem to be airborne, or it would have ignored our quarantine altogether. Physical contact with the infected doesn't seem to spread it. Couldn't tell you about exchange of bodily fluids. He goes, we don't have enough information on that. It seems to be fairly proximity based, though we can't find the source of it. Don't have enough clergy to continue to keep the quarantine up and investigate.
Probably nods as he takes notes and says,
Interesting. And you say it's mostly affecting the poorer of their people.
Well, it's in the poor quarter. It started with the homeless, but then diseases often do. They're usually the ones most affected. Doesn't seem, at least at first, to affect anything other than the vision. Signs of physical illness. There are some people who seem to get physically weaker as time goes on. Because, but they're, he says, but the, he says, but there's no direct pattern in that either. And it almost seems like it could potentially even be a secondary disease riding on the back of the first, but we're not entirely certain. If it's just a latent expression of the disease that only comes out in a small number of cases with a long gestation period, or if there's something else, or if it's a secondary disease that is piggybacking off of the infection rates of the first.
It is interesting. Most diseases don't know their bounds simply by a town's areas.
That's what I found most vexing and confusing, and unfortunately, after the incident with the stone board dwarves, my brother won't let me go anywhere without a security escort that makes investigation of any kind difficult at best, impossible most of the time. They won't allow me access to the more infected quarters for fear of anything happening to me. He goes, and he shrugs his shoulders.
Have you ruled out any magical interference of any sort?
I have not. He goes, unfortunately, our investigation has only allowed us to observe so much in the patterns. He says, there are a lot of things we have not been able to rule out. He goes,
Is psionics ruled out?
that much we're fairly certain is ruled out. We're fairly certain that our clairvoyance at the least would have caught on to something at this point. With the direct concentration of the academy here, and the number of clairvoyants that my brother keeps on staff at the castle and around town. Each of the constabulary units, each ward has its own clairvoyant assigned to it, including the poor quarters. But they've been able to detect no psionic psionic means of transference of this.
Hmm. Yeah, I think Basbeer probably kind of closes his book and clasps it, puts it back on his back, and goes,
It appears that a face-to-face meeting with some of the infected would most likely be the best way for us to get information. Not to say that you have not already been of a great help.
He goes, I wish I was of better help in this matter, but there is a reason I am turning to you as well, after all.
kind of nods, and yeah, I don't think that Basbeer has anything else like important to say at like the dinner, necessarily. I kind of checked all my stuff off the list.
Does anybody else have conversation they wish to have with Avrio Cantor?
No, this is not a Avaria conversation. She's enjoying her camel.
she's, she's just
So Basbeer.
enjoying good food, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Basbeer.
Good food, good meat, good God, let's eat.
Aye.
Dune hen is really a colloquial term. There are these plump lizards that scurry about the bottom of the Nahazara dunes, and they get fat on the rodents and insects. And what we do is we wrap them in clay and bake them in the sand.
Ooh, I like that.
I love that.
That's great.
That is added to the official lore.
Yeah,
Canon.
I'm like, I want to try some of that Dune hen.
so good.
Yeah. I think the meat is a bit tougher and stringy than what you were eating, but it is also like feels very nutritionally impactful. Like, uh, you know, when you've never taken a vitamin before and then you take vitamins for about a week and you're like, suddenly I feel better than I've felt in a long time. It's got a similar effect. Like, it's like, huh, I get the feeling this food is is like a superfood kind of situation.
I've
Like,
eaten McDonald's for a week straight, and now I finally had a bowl of carrots, and I feel like God.
you're like, so while it's not, the texture is not entirely pleasant, it may not be entirely pleasant to you. I don't know how Avaria feels about tough and stringy meat. I'm not going to make assumptions, but uh, and the taste is up to you whether you enjoy it or not. But it's definitely like feels a bit more like impactful and nutrition wise. Um,
Oh no, she is happy to try anything new.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Her
So
her her exploratory nature is actually real.
yeah, there you go.
I mean, Rosale's just going at an entire one, so
Huh.
Well, yeah. Yeah. So you're like, does anybody else have any conversation for each other? Like,
I
are you
think I'm
all
good.
Yeah, I
all
think
right?
like mostly small talk, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoying the company of one normal person in this fucked up country.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
One halfway decent human being in the country that
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
met so far, anyway.
There's a lot of
Uh,
decent people in this country. What are you talking about?
Sir, I think we're a little biased.
there's
I like it.
there's
I
at
like
least
the bias.
7 good people here.
Uh, uh,
Wait,
you're-
hold on. 1, 2, 3.
Actually, I would think I would try the food, the thing that Raziel's eating, to get better relations with him.
Okay, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
so
he's He's eager to talk to you about it and how they used to hunt them as kids.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
great
he's gonna
conversation.
fully have a conversation about where you're from and your food, and learn as much about you as possible.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, he's a pretty open book, so he'll tell him about it.
Saren, always working.
Yeah, yeah. I was about to say taking your work home, are
Always on the clock.
I love it. I
Hey,
love
I'm
it.
always working because of the town we're in, and I know how he works.
Yep,
Flipping,
you are well aware.
flipping Inspector Gadget over here. I'm always on duty.
you?
Always on duty. Yep. All right. Well, I think this may be probably a solid place to call it for today. With everybody kind of like the camera zooming out on everybody eating and, talking and sort of like small talk and what have you. Um, as we kind of fade out, and then maybe we get like a cut scene, right? And the cut scene is like we see like we see like a windy day in sort of like these packed streets or like these streets that feel kind of claustrophobic. It looks fairly poor and uh, the cobblestone streets look like they're in not so great a repair. The buildings themselves look like they're in various stages of not well taken care of, and we see like we see water off of the distance. We see like some docks. And we see like some boats, some smaller sailing boats on, and a few smaller, rowing craft as well, like docked in. And we see a a man in dark clothing meeting with what look we see. First of all, we see a man waiting. Looks, he's kind of dressed in normal clothing, and then like maybe he's sitting on the back of a wagon next to like maybe what looks like a side street, or whatever. And as he's kind of sitting there and like he's dressed with like a warmer tunic, but you still get the impression that the wind coming off of the water is kind of coldish. And he's like, he shivers slightly in a breeze and mumbling to himself. And as he's kind of sitting there on the edge of the wagon, just kind of kicking his feet and what have you, there's a man comes out, but from the dressed all in dark clothing with a deep dark hood comes out of the shadows. He's like, and he's like, and startles the man on the wagon, and the man on the wagon kind of is like, ah, Jesus, uh, he's like, first you're late, and then he goes, first you're late, and then you spook me like a goddamn ghost. He was like, we got enough to fear here we are around here. He's like, man in the dark cloak goes, not as much as if your master has decided not to come to heal. Is he to heal? Because it will happen in a matter of days, and we need to know whether he's on board with the plan or if he requires a more direct explanation of what his a more direct explanation of his what his role is to be. And then he goes, yeah, yeah. He goes, yeah, yeah. My lord's already all over it. There's no lights 2 nights hence. No lights 2 nights hence. He goes, and he goes, and your operation will go unnoticed as long as your masters hold to their word as well. And I think the dark cloaked man is like, don't worry. Long as your lord follows through with his end, this whole operation will occur silent as the grave. And he kind of turns and walks away. The man jumps down from having already jumped down from the wagon at this point, looks after him and gets a perturbed look on his face, is somewhat angry, and turns and walks off. And we go to black. Let's everybody get your Player's Choice Awards, and let's everybody start doing sign-offs. And remember, Sarah, you still have a reroll banked. So who wants to go first on sign-off?
I'll go first. Thanks you guys for always having me here. I'm Angel, known as Wabbit on the server. I'm playing Raziel today. I really enjoyed today's campaign. I feel like the intrigue is building. I feel like you can't trust anybody, and that's mentally exhausting. And now I have to go make stuffing.
You can trust me.
I don't believe you.
I don't believe you.
I'm open that I report back.
Yeah, we know this one is an agent of of Baroness Deltrick.
Like she literally said, "This guy's my agent. He's gonna be reporting to me. He's coming with you."
Yep. Her cards were much more on the table. So who's next?
I'll go. This is Joe. You caught me playing Avaria Kras, who didn't do much this time, but she got to eat a lot. And also, thanks to Bass Beer, she is starting to wise up to Aaron, who I think she'll eventually hate. And I personally hate Ocanther. So, not this good guy, not the good Ocanther who fed us. That was cool. Any rate, always be watching Half Sisters on Tubi. Thank you.
All right.
That's
next.
what made him a good guy. He fed us.
Yeah, he fed us.
Yeah,
I'll knock it out. It's your boys. That's Big Nasty 6999. Playing Callahan Cromwell, the soldier without an alternate whatever motive. Thank you. Without any kind of alternate motives, who's just here to be a soldier and support the party as best he can. And still completely oblivious to the necromancer in the party. I love that, and we're going to try to keep that up as long as we can until it just can't help it. And
it's going to be another weird situation where Raziel calls her Death Singer.
Right. And
she
now
he faces that too a lot. So
I'm in a courtship with 3 ladies. Well, 3.5 because someone else is trying to get into my bed. Yeah, you can catch me every other Saturday as well in the Napple 2.0. Oh yeah, as Chance, the hobo with a shotgun who cannot be killed. At least that's what I'm going to try to go with. Everything I do is going to be all about survival and making it so like if everyone else dies, I'm out. But that is me.
All right. I suppose I can go now. Hello, everybody. My name is Mira, also known as Mira Shades GM. Today, you caught me playing Bazbeer, who did some highfalutin politicking, and managed to get the group their weapons back, which I am pretty stoked about. Hopefully that
I did
helps
too.
us. Yeah, but I mean, like, you were like, "Oh, we have to leave town to get our weapons back." We're getting our weapons back in town because of me.
and it was not a promise that we would get to keep them when we got back. So I just
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
that.
Um, but yeah, you can also catch me every other Saturday where I am running Napple 2.0 hour or 2.0, where the party just went through a horror movie monster scenario where one of them almost died. And mortars were shot in tight confines. You know, good stuff, good stuff. But yeah, other than that, you can catch me around on the channel every once in a while, depending on the time and the place. But yeah, that's me.
Okay, so that leaves me, and I'm Scott, and apparently I'm playing everybody's hated character because whatever. I've been played a loving character before, so hey, what a change of pace.
I
You're
love
mentioning,
Saren, even though he's fucking up our shit.
yeah. I don't know. Your mortars brought back bad memories of another character that got blown up in
Oh
close quarters.
yeah. Just leave
putting that-
the medic in a room with a grenade. Like,
Yeah.
You're not alone.
Anyways, back to what? Yeah, I'm played Saren, and I love this character, and I had created a lot of things with this character to cover a lot of things, and it's fun, and I love this game. I'm not in anything else at the moment because life is hard, but yeah, it's fun, and that's it. Thank you.
Real.
Oops.
all right, that leaves
Nice.
you.
That just leaves me. All right, everybody. First of all, player's choice today went to Raziel. I love.
Nice.
Hey.
I think everybody appreciates the little things that go the little touches here and there. You know,
The stone, the clay lizard thing. That was cool.
Oh, the
that
Dune
was
Hen.
And
Very
also the
Dune head, yeah.
I get my sword back. There's gonna be a problem.
Yeah. But yeah, I am the Just a King Zerat, and you can catch me enjoying running this game every other Saturday, except when there are life events that prevent it. Things like protests or holidays or such like, or technical issues. But uh, this has been a lot of fun so far. And those of you who are watching, I am glad that you are with us for the ride. I'd also like to give a major shout out here to Cyrus Smith for our massively fancy and beautiful overlay. And I know that he's going to do some tweaking on it to make it even better. Um, but a lot of extra work, and we do appreciate it. It looks amazing, and I'm very happy about it.
Agreed.
But with that said, somebody get that Manicupid doll. With that said, I guess that let's get an R.I.P. Posker and get out of here. R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Posker.
Foster.
R.I.P. Foster.